Hello and welcome to another episode of Backlinking, the PKM podcast. And I've called this backlinking because it is mostly about productivity, or it is always about productivity and productivity tools mostly, but it is mainly about digital tools. But in this episode, I thought I would talk a little bit about analog tools like this notebook right here. There are many reasons for why. One of them is that I actually read a blog post from Tiago Forte, and I think it was a guest post from his wife talking about how she used notebooks instead of applications, which I also do for some aspects of my life. So if you're new to the channel, you might not have seen how I use it, but inside of here, I have like a bullet journal style task manager. That is one of the notebooks I have inside of my Paper Republic leather cover. I have a bullet journal style like notebook. I mainly use it for tasks at work, but I also sometimes use it uh, for notes as well, work notes. But basically, my rule there is that I place 3 to 4 tasks in there every single day. If I'm able to accomplish those, it's been a good day. If not, then I will have to review and figure out why I wasn't able to accomplish those things. And it is mainly 3 or 4, but recently I've had like many small tasks. So a task inside of there can be like answer or follow up email from person X. And that is such a small task that I tend to add more of those if like my day has a lot of follow-up emails and things like that. But sometimes like today I have a lot of design tasks which take a lot of work, then I will probably have 2, maybe 3 things. So it all depends on like how much or how big the tasks are. But the point is that I try to have as few tasks as possible on there. And if I'm able to accomplish those, it's been a productive day. So that has been something I've been doing ever since I started bullet journaling. But I've also started looking at more this notebook system more for general note taking. Um, I'm not going to stop using digital tools. I will still use a digital calendar and to-do list. I will still use a digital note-taking app, and I am currently testing out SpaceDuck, an application I've talked about several times on this channel. But it is an application I'm a big fan of, and there will probably be more videos. I've been using it for, I think it's been a month now. I think it's been a month in a few days. So I haven't been using it for that long, but I am a big fan of the application. It really fits my needs, and I can say that because I've used an application like MyMind, which is similar, but the only reason for me leaving MyMind, there was 2 reasons. One, there was no like real project management or task management features, which I really needed, and I couldn't afford paying for another application to do that for me. So that was the first reason. The second reason was that uh, I needed some collaboration features. So it actually works quite well that SpaceDuck has both of those things. It feels like a blend between something like Milanote and MyMind, which is the 2 applications I've mainly been using after my system fell apart back in January. And it has also been like Milanote and MyMind has been probably the 2 applications I've used for the longest time. So it makes a lot of sense. And the reason for me talking about SpaceDuck is that the idea behind me using SpaceDuck is quite similar to me using a pocket notebook or notebooks in general. I actually purchased another traveler's notebook today. But the point is that I want to create a space for myself where uh, there are many things, but like one of the main things is that I want a space where I don't have to perform, where I can be honest with myself, where I can reflect on my thoughts and ideas. And like it isn't something I'm scared to show anyone. It isn't some like if someone got the information from my note-taking app, I would probably not be really stressed out about it. The same goes for my notebook. My um, job and probably my boss would be a little more stressed because there are things in there that shouldn't be seen by people. But the point is that I wouldn't be really stressed if anyone saw it. So I'm not that concerned about privacy. But the point here is that the goal isn't to perform, it isn't to curate for someone else. It is my brain and like my little corner of the internet or in life. Like the point is that when your job, which mine is altered around attention, social media, uh, web pages, design, like everything I do is about attention, and everything around me keeps trying to grab my attention. In this day and age, we live like that. Like everyone has their cell phones with social media and um, algorithms trying to keep us on applications. And I'm not saying that it is all bad. Like I'm not saying like all the inputs I get from social media aren't bad. I get a lot of great stuff from social media, but it is still things that go into my brain, things that I have to think about. And I just want a place that it is much slower, that isn't all about keeping me there, that isn't all about trying to take my attention. I want a place where I have chosen to keep the things that are the most interesting to me. That's what I need in my second brain, whether that's a YouTube video idea that I want to work on because I think it is super interesting, or it is a task that I have decided that this is something I should do, or it is a book, notes from a book that I have decided that this is so important that I want to keep it in my little corner of the internet, or my notebook, which I try to revisit as much as I can. I've I've like consciously made a decision to put things into either my notebook or my note-taking app. And it becomes like my note-taking app becomes like my little corner of the internet. So everything in there, I've decided that it should be in there. Like all of my tasks, for example, that are in there are things that I've decided that I'm going to do. And like I might get an email and I might decide that this isn't a priority, this isn't something I should do. I'm still getting that input. I still have to make a decision. But when it comes into my note-taking app, like when I feel overwhelmed and stressed, just opening up my notebook or my note-taking app should be a place that calms me down. That's been my goal. Your goal is and might be different, and it probably is different. And that's okay. Like we all have different goals with our second brain and our productivity tools. But uh, I am currently working on a blog post. I think I've already published one, but I'm working on another one, probably a better one for my Substack. Uh, and I've titled it The Point of Taking Notes is to Organize Them and Feel in Control. And that has always been an important part of my note taking journey. And that brings me back to the point of analog note taking and why I've been like really interested in it lately. It is because it is much slower. I tend to not over capture stuff. That was also an issue I had with my mind when I was using my mind, was that it was so easy to capture stuff that I would over capture things. Like I would capture notes that didn't actually mean a lot to me. So that's the first thing that a notebook helps me with. The second is that I want to put away my phone a lot more. I wouldn't say that I have a terrible phone addiction. I use my phone a couple of, I think it's around 2 to 3 hours each day. I use my computer a lot more, but I use my phone a little, and I want to use my phone a lot less because especially some of the social medias I use on my phone is it really feels like a waste of time because I after a session of scrolling I feel much worse. I feel angry. I feel annoyed, and that isn't a feeling I am trying to chase. So I'm trying to put away my phone at least a little more. And having a notebook to open up whenever I used to open up my phone just out of habit, like whenever I was waiting for the bus or sitting on the bus or right before going to sleep, or there are many instances where I would choose to pick up my phone and scroll a little bit on X or TikTok or whatever social media. I'm trying to use my notebook a bit more for that purpose, and that is why like a pocket size one like the one I am holding right here is a good one. I am also, as I said, I have bought a bigger one that I'm really excited to get. um and there is also a third thing I want to incorporate like pen and paper into my note-taking system because a lot of the time I think a lot better on paper than I do on digital. So having some sort of system to blend the two to like get the benefits of a notebook and the benefits of a digital system has been something I've been looking into for a while now, and I have sort of figured it out, especially because Space Duck has the note-taking app I'm using has OCR, so I can search for my own handwriting, and also like ChatGPT is getting so good at transcribing, so I could just take a picture of whatever I have been working on and get AI to transcribe it and put it into my note-taking app. And I posted something about this on Blue Sky, and someone asked me when I know when to move like a note. How do I know when to move a note from my analog system into my digital? And it is a lot about gut feeling. So when I feel that an idea is ready, like most of the thinking is done, the idea feels ready, I move it into my digital tool. I also have another digital tool. I've talked about SpaceDuck, but I have another one, Sublime, that I use more of as a commonplace. So I can open up Sublime and sit with Sublime and a notebook and write things down and draw arrows. And whenever I'm like, okay, this idea is now ready, it is time to write the script, for example, for um, my YouTube video, or it is time to finish the strategy document I've been working on at my day job, or it is time to write that blog post. When I feel that it is time to move all of my notes into my note taking, my digital note taking system, which then again shows me a lot of related notes, so I might get some new ideas. But when I feel like the core of the idea is ready, and I want to pursue it, because that's the second part there is the whole point of introducing more analog. A lot of the time or I've at least used to film videos and blog posts that I didn't actually find that interesting. So adding this layer to my system can make it a lot easier for me to decide whether or not something is interesting enough to pursue. And that also goes for a lot of the other ideas I have. That might be business ideas, it might be ideas for how to monetize my social media, for example. There are many ideas I have every single day. Book ideas, where like 90% of them are terrible ideas, but I've pursued a lot of them, and like halfway through, I figure out that this was actually a terrible idea. I'm trying to avoid that with adding more analog, and spending more time with pen and paper, just thinking about things. So I'm not saying that the system will work out perfectly. I'm not even sure if it will work out at all. I have been doing this for a while now, but it might all just fall apart. But I think it is an important experiment. I know that the task management side of things works quite well, like being able to have 3 or 4 tasks that I've decided to work on. I think that works really well for me, and it has done that for over a year now. So that part stays, but all of the other things are just experiments. And I also have the benefit of like really enjoying things like fountain pens, notebooks. I like sitting down and writing. So no matter what happens, it will be a really fun experiment. And I will always, of course, journal with pen and paper, probably a fountain pen. So my journaling and like self-reflection sessions will always be pen and paper. But I think that like covers most of the things I wanted to talk about in this podcast episode. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I will try to get to them as soon as I can. And thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode.